Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Serge Schamschula. I'm working for Transporeon, a Trimble company, as head of partner management. So the good news is, bear that in mind, I don't have to sell anything here. I'm also vice chair in ALICE, the Alliance for Logistics Innovation through Collaboration in Europe, and been co-author of the white paper, How to Shift Volumes from Road to Combined Transport in particular, which we issued early 2024. The contribution of Dimitri was very inspiring. My goal is a little bit different. So I'm a little bit the party crasher, not because I would disagree with what Dimitri has said, not at all, but I was focusing on what combined transport can expect from artificial intelligence and to which extent that might be a game changer or not. And before I forget, so all the images in my presentation have been created by AI. All the rest is from human intelligence. Next slide, please. Something is not working on my end. Wait a second.
Okay, I switched to the other side. The slide
you did everything right, Eric.
Okay, okay.
My
Good
application was a
Good
bit
to know.
so. So let me go a bit back in time. Artificial intelligence, that's took a long way to hype. And if we just look at one of the highlights in 1997, so 28 years back in time, the first computer was running AI, artificial intelligence algorithms to beat the former world champion in chess, Mr. Garry Kasparov. I was pretty young at that point of time. In the meantime, we have seen a lot of AI coming up, but it was pretty silent. Maybe we can go to the next slide here. So, as I said, AI is not that new. I would even dare to say that software where you really have no aspect of artificial intelligence inside must be really outdated. Still, it stayed pretty calm for many years until ChatGPT came up. Suddenly, it was in everybody's mouth, and the whole subject went through the roof. And why all that bubble financial institutes are already worrying about, I will answer on by the next slide. It's money. A lot of money. The bare imagination that you could do a company with a handful of employees only, which would have a multi-billion-dollar value at the stock exchange and grow like a rocket, this is driving the hype. And therefore, you will hardly find any software which doesn't have an AI tag on it today. Independent, it was there already before. So instead of following the hype, let me very simply bring to you and to your attention a few use cases from logistics which are already working. And forgive me that I'm using examples from my employer, Transporeon, but most likely you will find maybe something similar in other companies. We can jump actually 2 slides if you wish, Eric, speeding up a bit. Exactly. So first example is a product we call autonomous procurement. Autonomous procurement is a solution in simple words. Okay, interesting. You have a different slide than me. Doesn't matter. Yes, very good. Thank you, Eric. No Sorry for troubling you.
No problem.
Autonomous procurement is a solution where shippers push their spot loads, not contracted business, spot loads to the various incumbent and other transport providers. I'm not sure if I should interrupt myself because I see that I think it's Dimitri who has the hand up. Is that coincidentally?
I think he forgot to lower his
Okay.
hand, yeah.
Okay. Then let's just go on.
Yes.
with autonomous procurement, the shipper can push out to its carriers, incumbent and new ones, a massive amount of bids within a few seconds only. And yes, it saves 10% of the cost for spot rates on average. But I think more importantly, it does that with only 20% of the human manpower behind. So if the shipper had an office with 8 employees who were dealing with the spot business, now the shipper has 1 employee. Just to be totally clear. And this sheer amount of many requests sent out, and not only requests sent out, but also decisions made based on that requests and carriers being contracted, that makes this a big difference. Next slide, please. So the counterpart for the logistics service provider for autonomous procurement is called autonomous quotation. And autonomous quotation does something similar. It is able to digest within 2 seconds a request for a proposal coming in from a shipper and convert it into a bid according to the specifications of the logistics service providers, independent whether it came in well structured by any digital means or just an email with unstructured details hiding somewhere in the abstract. 2 seconds per bid. So that enables the carrier or logistics service provider to answer a massive amount of requests for proposals with a minimum of effort, which has the effect that the probability to match the logistics service provider's own transport planning with these spot opportunities is drastically increasing. Last but not least, next slide, please. There's one more who profits from all this. This is my employer, Transporeon, offering both solutions in combination. So autonomous procurement for the shippers, autonomous quotation for the carriers, resulted in an 80% year growth of our product offering in this field. So it sounds like a win-win-win. Next slide, please. There's a complementary solution, which is AI-based. We call it carrier vetting and onboarding. Among others, you can imagine that some of those carriers are not listed at the shippers. Still, the shippers would like to work with them. What we do on our end is we do some, I would call it pre-qualification. That means our AI assistant is not only making tax checks and company register checks and transport license checks. Our AI assistant is also reading the files which have been uploaded and determines whether this paper, even if it is in Cyrillic language, establishes a valid CMR insurance certificate or not. Still, once again, I have to be clear. I would strongly recommend to still let a experienced carrier manager go over the results and validate them and verify them. Because as Dimitri already said, better double check. And that has nothing to do with my employer, to be totally fair with you. Next slide, please. Yes, there are a couple of other solutions, and as I promised, I'm not going to explain all of them. It's about data, it's about working with data. Next slide, please. And I could list endless applications. However, what they all have in common is they just show that these AI assistants are working very hard, extremely fast, right or wrong. The AI assistant does its job faster and can capture more data than any human assistant. Next slide, please. However, I think this oops, interesting. Something happened with it. Yeah, we are on the right slide. Very good, thank you. However, we have to acknowledge that, and that's in line with what Dimitri had said, outstanding results of AI-backed solutions require sources of outstanding quality. And this cannot be overestimated. We talk about knowledge bases, databases, insights. Without those, AI is completely lost, independent from whether the first trial, the first prompt given to an AI assistant was already performing or not. Next slide, please. Oops, interesting. Next slide, please. I don't know why you have different slides, but it doesn't matter. Last use case, which is specific for my employer. My employer is a supply chain software company, so to speak, is on coding. We are already using AI for coding today. And before I say so, coding is very complex, difficult, burdensome, and expensive as a result of that. AI assistants do already code a few lines, and then the superior reviews. The amount of software code AI will be able to compute without any human intervention will probably increase drastically over the next years. And that's the good news for everybody who wants to buy software, not only in logistics. Every company which adopts that will be able to offer cheaper software in very few years from now. So that's a use case very specifically on a software producer. Now, next slide, please. Yes, exactly. In summary, AI performs a little bit similar to a human assistant, but it works even harder than every human could do so. It works extremely fast and can digest a massive amount of data. So that's the real advantage. However, is that it's not fit for every purpose. Granular research is not something I would give to AI. You can scan 1,000 companies within a few seconds, but what you will get in return is the content-free bubbles they have on their homepages, usually, just to picture that clearly. The second thing is that therefore you need to review very carefully also work which is fit for AI. Like with every new assistant you might have in your offices, and without good quality data, you can only get scrap out from AI. This is super important and takes me to my next slide, please, where I ask myself the question: if AI, what is the value of AI for combined transport, and will that be a game changer? To be able answering that questions, I was asking myself 3 sub-questions. Next slide, please. Right one? Yes. So first sub-question, is combined transport good at seamless exchange of high quality data, real-time data from sensors or equivalent systems? I could refer to our endless discussions on the EFDI in combined transport and rail freight. But let me very simply think back on a project I did for the European Commission 2 years ago in very good collaboration with RailNet Europe, RNE. That project was called EU-Ukraine Solidarity Lane. It was on providing visibility data to all the stakeholders on Ukraine-related corridors to the different European ports. What I can tell from that project, we saw huge deficits in simple status messages in the system. I must admit, it was not same bad on every corridor and from every infrastructure manager. But most data was entered just by humans. The data was inconsistent, so we can really speak of weak quality. And the data wasn't real time, it was just shared real time. That means if a terminal operator at 2 o'clock after his lunch break entered a status message from 1200, after he entered it, right or wrong, then it was shared in real time, but not after the event. So most importantly, all this data never arrived at those which were concerned. In commercial transport, we talk about the shipper, the owner of the good, who doesn't see anything, right or wrong data. So sorry, guys, I have to answer this first question with a clear no. Next slide, please. So my next question is whether the majority of operators in rail and intermodal freight are using operating systems different to Excel. I admit it's a bit phrased provocatively, but probably my friend Osmar Akdemir from Railflow is smiling when he sees that, because he's selling to those guys who still operate on Excel or similar products. Hi, Osmar. What I'm afraid I have to say is rail and intermodal transport is operated in islands, and in best case, these islands are getting bigger. And this is the one thing which is very good on Railflow. They increase the size of the islands, but it's still an island. And there is a lack of integration into other supply chain solutions, whether this is Blue Yonder or anyone else. I'm not, again, speaking about my employer. Who, by the way, had been winning the Supply Chain Excellence Award last year, so pretty exactly 1 year ago, because they have fully integrated one railway operator, and you could assume that we might have an exclusivity contract because there was no second one following, but we had no exclusivity contract. It was just the only one who wanted to integrate, and everyone else wanted to continue working on the island. So answer to my second question is very simply again a no, and let me jump to the next slide, please. Yes, so my third and last question, and then I'm finished, is whether the providers of rail and intermodal freight are really prepared to replace a significant share of low to mid qualification workforce by AI assistance. And don't get me wrong, would I enjoy if people are set off as a person, as a human being? No, I would not. But if the sector wants to gain an advantage out of introducing AI assistance at scale, if they would have the data, which they don't, then this is the ultimate thing they need to do over time, and not over a decade, like you're writing off your terminals over 4 decades, if I remember well. But now, is it realistic that will happen? Is it realistic that the society would accept that and the unions would applaud? I doubt so. Again, a no from my end. Sorry to crash the party. And now I'm coming to my last slide, so to speak. My summary for combined transport specifically. AI, of course, is still a must. You cannot avoid it. Start working with that, just as Dimitri has suggested. But don't think that this will be improving your competitive edge or being a game changer in favor of combined transport. Combined transport, and you don't believe it, I loved combined transport. I will take this week a combined transport to Brussels again from Austria, my home place, to join the Alice summit. But combined transport has to improve drastically. AI is just a must. It won't accelerate that. Sorry for that one. My goodbye slide maybe is the next slide, and the last one. Everyone who wants to know more about what I said in Alice, because we have a very positive, to finish with something positive. We made another survey in Alice. We will share just the highlights on Friday afternoon in Brussels at the Alice Logistics Innovation Summit. And the report is likely due end of this year. There we have some very positive findings, focusing on transit time and also on-time performance. You wouldn't expect so. So stay tuned for that report, and thank you for listening to me.